What's up, Illini? I'm Peyton Wesner, and welcome to ISN Now, the official podcast of Illini Sports Night. It's the Luther Head episode 4. You get it? Because Head War number 4? You know what? Forget I said anything. Then again, my guest at this time did accomplish something Head was never able to do: win a national championship. He's Fighting Illini wrestling royalty and a 3-time All-American, which includes an NCAA national championship at 149 pounds back in 2001. I can go further down the list of accolades and the fact he ranked second at the University of Illinois in career wins and held the career pins record for over a decade. But I'm sure I'm missing some of his most impressive accolades. It's none other than wrestling great and Fighting Illini Athletics class of 2020 Hall of Famer Adam Tirapelle. Adam, thank you very much for your time today. I hope all is well with you and yours. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Maybe with that intro, it is best to start with your accomplishments. I can imagine what your answer is, but looking back at everything you achieved, what are you most proud of?
Boy, I mean, of course, every wrestler wants to win a national championship. I mean, that's sort of the goal when you get to college, and I think it's something that you don't realize how hard it's going to be. Wrestlers sort of have high expectations and high opinions of themselves, and everybody thinks they're capable of getting it done. You just don't realize, magnitude that there can only be one person, and everybody's gunning for the same thing. And at the high school level, there's lots of states and lots of classes a lot of times. So being successful at the high school level is just it's such a huge step from high school to college. So I wanted to be national champ. Was close a couple of times, and got it done as a senior. And I'd say that was definitely my most proud accomplishment.
Having those close times, obviously taking third your sophomore year, second your junior year, did that make it, when you won and became a national champion, that much more satisfying?
Yeah, I think so. Some of the times that I came up short at whatever level probably allowed me to be even more successful in my career than had I won a few of those matches, because there's something about almost doing something or falling short of something you worked hard for, maybe you didn't work hard enough for, that motivates you. And not to say that for sure things would have been different, but it just drives you. Your failures always drive you more than your successes. So coming up short as a junior or as a sophomore, even though I had a good tournament there, as a junior I really thought I was going to win. Lost in overtime in the finals, though obviously a quality opponent. And then knowing how difficult it is, the tournament's so difficult that getting back to the finals is, being All-American is not guaranteed. Getting back to the finals is really, really difficult. So I think you feel sorry for yourself for a second, but then you realize you got one more year to train and put your best foot forward, and then that's it. So
I should mention your brother Alex is the wrestler who surpassed your mark in career wins by just one match victory. That fact alone is a testament to your family lineage, though. You, Alex, and Troy have left quite the mark at Huff Hall. You, I guess, kind of started that tradition because you transferred from Stanford to go to Illinois, and now the rest is history.
Yeah, wrestling's it's a family sport. A lot of times the whole family's involved. Every school, obviously, in the country doesn't have wrestling, so it's not quite as wide open on where you can go and get a great education and have a quality wrestling program as maybe football or basketball or something like that. And so when I went to Illinois and just absolutely loved the school and the program, of course, the coaches. I think coaches sort of set the tone for any program and what it's going to be like. And it's hard, coming from California, quite different from Illinois and are. And seeing the type of program they ran, how much they cared about the guys, and how much the guys enjoyed being around each other. It was a family atmosphere. Obviously, we all want to be successful, and there's a competitive aspect, but it was just a great place to go. And so my brothers, I don't even think gave their schools really a second thought. It was such a good place, and they enjoyed being there when they came to camps as young kids. when I was wrestling there, that they just wanted to go there too.
Does Alex ever bring the career wins record up at the dinner table at Thanksgiving, or do you quickly quiet him down with a mention of a national championship?
No, probably if anything, they sell themselves short a little bit, because we're competitive, and Alex actually was very, very successful. Was second as a freshman, fourth as a sophomore. But a lot of success at the college level is things out of your control. A lot of people have, like I said, goals to be national champs. Great work ethic, all the things it takes. He actually had a few injuries that derailed him a little bit, and so if anything, he always defers and says how I was better, and I don't know that was necessarily the case. It just I was able to stay injury free my career. I had some good fortune on my side in addition to things that were in my control, and so I ended up having maybe a better career on paper.
Since you have left the University of Illinois, you've started a family, have 3 children, and now work in financial services. Despite all the hustle and bustle, you still find time to coach at Clovis High School in California. How and why?
I think it's a big part of me. I've said this in interviews and everything I've ever done. I owe pretty much everything I have to wrestling. Not that I didn't give a lot, I did, but from the places it's taken me, the accomplishments, the college degree, my job, my clients, everything. It's like Kevin Bacon, like 6 degrees of separation. It's like almost everything in my life, and maybe everything, can be tied in one way or another to wrestling. So, I owe the sport a lot. My dad got me into it. I'm really happy to give back, and then at first it started out with just kind of giving back and just continue to stay involved with it. And then the older I got, the more I realized that maybe I needed a little bit more than it needed me, or we need each other, because it helps you to stay young. I like to be around the high school kids. I do wealth management for a living. Obviously, I'm working with a lot of older people, which I enjoy. I do enjoy the business world, but it's different, and it's nice to stay connected to to the youth sports, to wrestling, and sort of have that balance in your life. So I really enjoy it. I've been doing it for 15 years or so after I spent 2 years as a grad assistant in Illinois, and now I'm getting my own kids that are 10. My 2 boys are 10 and 7, so they're starting to do some wrestling, and so I probably got a few more years in the sport.
When you see your sons start to pick up wrestling, how does that make you feel, considering how big of a part wrestling has been in your life?
I enjoy it. I want them to learn from the sport. Like, my family's a little different. Maybe it's why we were able to be successful in some ways, and I know it's more of a world where you get to do what you want whenever you want nowadays. But I told my boys when they were young that they were going to wrestle. They don't have to be great at it. I'm not going to be mad if they're not great, but I believe it's good for them. It's going to teach a lot of things that I use today. They're life skills, how to overcome adversity. I can tell you numerous times in the last 20 years that things have happened that you think back of some of your wrestling experiences, and I always think about wrestling and NCAA championships in front of 17,000 people, and your whole career comes down to one moment. And it's like there's literally nothing that can be more pressure, more nerve-wracking, more intense than that. So I know Gable said once you wrestled, everything else in life is easy. I don't know if it's easy, but it puts it in perspective. So my boys wrestle, and I'm happy to watch them. I really enjoy watching them get stuff out of the sport. They're both not all world. They take quite a few losses as well as get some victories, but I know they're growing from it, and they're learning how to, like I said, overcome adversity and compete out there. And it's actually good for the people I'm around too, because they know what I did in wrestling, and they watch my sons as they are kind of growing up, and I look at them and go, see, you're not born with it. Like you don't just pop out of the womb and know how to wrestle. Like it's a learned skill. Like you have to work at it. It takes time. And so watching my kids who aren't, like I said, they're not all world from the very beginning. They're developing just like everybody else. Shows that it gives I guess it gives the idea that, hey, everybody can do this. Like, if you're willing to put in the time and the effort, you can be good at this. It's not like, oh, the Tirapelles, you're just born with wrestling. They're just good at it. It's like, no, these are my kids. They're Tirapelles, and they got to work at it just like everybody else.
We're joined by Adam Tirapelle, 2001 national champion in wrestling and member of the 2020 Fighting Illini Hall of Fame class here on ISN Now. Adam, at Clovis, of course, you are an assistant wrestling coach underneath your father. What do you find the most rewarding part of coaching?
I think just watching the kids grow. You know, I really enjoy watching a kid. A lot of times out here they start with us and, you know, called 6th or 7th grade, and you get to see their development process, you know, both as, you know, young men and wrestlers, and the relationship that we develop with them as coaches. You know, at first it starts off with, you know, a lot of us telling them what to do and, you know, how to be successful. And I think by the end, you know, I like to watch our juniors and senior kids come through where, you know, they developed a relationship where we don't have to be on them all the time. It's just more of a, you know, they know they're doing it for them. And I think the most rewarding thing is watching them reach a goal. Just because, you know what it feels like, and you help them, help them through, and typically reaching a goal requires helping them through a lot of tough times and a lot of self-doubt and questioning, and, you know, not to mention training and all the things that go through it. And they always, you know, overthink me and overthink us as coaches. I mean, we obviously help them, but at the end of the day, I always tell them, you did the work. Like, you did it. You know, we didn't do it. I didn't wrestle any matches for you. You know, we're just showing you how to be successful. And if you take it and you run with it, then, you know, you can achieve a lot in the sport.
Speaking of coaching, you were under Mark Johnson and Jim Heffernan during your college years. Heffernan has now been the head coach at Illinois for the last 11 years, and you've said he is someone who would give you the shirt off his back. If you wouldn't mind sharing, what memories with Heffernan really showcase his character?
Oh, man. Hef would do anything for you. Like, Hef was just like the silent guy. You know, I mean, he's a quiet guy. You could tell how nervous he got before we wrestled. Again, just because they care so much, and the same with Mark. Mark's just a different personality. I know, like, I mean, one good example was we go on trips, right? And of course, we just talked about wrestling's a weight class sport, so you'd have to work out, which means you have to bring extra clothes, and they'd be all sweaty, and, you know, it's a pain in the butt. And Hef would, like, collect everybody's clothes and, like, go wash them at the laundromat. You know, you're talking about you drive to Michigan, you wrestle them on Friday, and then you drive over to East Lansing and wrestle Michigan State on Sunday, and he'd be over at the laundromat on, you know, Saturday night, washing everybody's clothes. And, I mean, just a great guy. I mean, he would do anything it took to for us to be successful. And really the same for Mark. They're just different personalities, and it was a good yin and yang, and I think that's why the program had so much success. You know, you can't have, you know, you need a good cop, bad cop. You can't have everybody playing the same role, and they played two different roles. And Mark was we always called him the politician or the mayor. Like, everybody knew Mark, everybody loved Mark, and deservedly so. But Hef was a much quieter, behind the scenes type guy. But all the kids on the team, you know, from my era and beyond, would tell you what kind of a person he is. I mean, you can talk to Isaiah Martinez, you can talk to anybody who's come through since then, and I guarantee they'd have just nothing but, you know, glowing remarks about Jim and the kind of person he is and how much he really cares about kids.
Oh, most definitely. I know that's something I've picked up on in covering the team this year. Very quiet, but you can never doubt how much he cares and how much time he's put into each and every one of those wrestlers in his wrestling room. You may understand better than anyone, Adam, how quick a match goes by. It's just 7 minutes after all. What are some of your favorite moments or stories from your time with the Fighting Illini? It doesn't even necessarily have to be on mat, but moments similar to the one with Heffernan that really resonate with you from your time in college.
Oh, man. I think the thing I remember most is the training and stuff we did together as a team. The matches, like you said, are quick. You put all this effort in, and you get to showcase it for 7 minutes, and then you go through the season, you do that a couple times, you go to the national tournament, and to win, you got to win 5 matches. And so while there's a lot of great moments, winning matches, just a lot of the training. I mean, you understand how intense and dedicated that the guys on the team are right now. I mean, you go up there, and like I said, I remember like one specific instance. I remember we were training, and you're driving towards something, and you believe you're going to get there, and I was wrestling actually really well at the time, and it was late in practice, and it was me and Mike Castillo, who was our 41-pounder below us, and shot in. I was really tired. He was tired, so he didn't move his leg. Kind of just lifted his the bottom of his leg, and his knee came up and hit me right in the eye. Just split my eye open. Right. It happens a decent amount, right above right on my eyebrow. And I remember just like literally going outside, right outside Huff Hall there on the 3rd floor by the elevator, and just crying. I mean, just crying because, and not because your eye got split open. I didn't care about that. I cared because I knew I was going to have to go. I had in practice. I had to go to the hospital, get it stitched up. Probably couldn't practice the next day, and you're just thinking about how you're missing out. And I know it's kind of crazy, but that's a level of like intensity and dedication it takes to be successful at that level. And you're crying because you're not going to get to work out. And it's funny to think about now, but that's one of the things I remember. Remember doing the preseason running and the things you did on your own. Good story of mine was I student taught my senior year, the 2nd semester, and so I initially thought I wanted to go into teaching, and so, but I was training for the nationals, and Mark actually begged me not to, said I shouldn't student teach, but I did anyway because we kind of had that personality. So we took an Aerodyne bike over to Champaign Central, and literally would go into the locker room, the coach's locker room, at lunchtime and do like Aerodyne sprints. And if anybody's ever been on Aerodyne, done Aerodyne sprints, they'll know what I'm talking about. But I mean, it's literally like one of the most painful experiences you can have. It's a terrible, terrible workout, but that's why you do it, because it's great for you. And so I would do that in between, student teaching at lunch, and then come back, and I'm sure I looked just like absolute death. And they would the people in the PE room would just look at me like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? But I mean, you're just thinking, hey, I got to do this. Like I can't miss out on this. I need this for the end of the year. I need this to be the best I can be. I need this to be in the shape I need to be in going into the postseason. So you just did it. And like I said, I can't imagine doing that now. But those are the things that some of the things that stood out, where you're just like, it just becomes a different type of relationship. I remember asking Mark to come put me through, sprints around the Armory, the Armory track, and that was the same time student teaching. That was a different day. Just getting ready. You're doing everything you can because, you're trying to get ready to be successful.
I cannot have a conversation with you and not ask about the national championship back in 2001. When you think of March 17th, 2001, where does it rank in your top moments? And I say that being mindful you have a wife and 3 kids.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just it's a lifetime accomplishment. There's no question. I mean, I still remember it. Still remember how it felt. Still remember, listen, this is what it means. Like, I remember waking up, I still do, less nowadays, but waking up weeks and months after that, with like dreams that like, it hasn't happened yet. And then you wake up and you're like, no, it did. I won. Like, it's over. Like, I actually did it. And so, I mean, like I said, it's something that's on your mind and you put so much effort into, and literally, live, sleep, eat, breathe for so long that it almost doesn't seem believable. And like I said, it was just an incredible, emotional, moment from, you just think about, immediately you think about all the things you did and all the things you put into it, and that, that it paid off. And kind of crazily, or, you believe that it's going to happen, like there is no other possible outcome, because you almost have to believe that way. But realistically, like, the chances of it happening are not that good. But I mean, that's just the mindset. That's what's kind of crazy, and what makes it fun. And I really appreciate watching the college wrestlers nowadays, because I know, their mindset and how much they're putting into it, and it's so entertaining. And none of them think they're going to lose. But I mean, realistically, there's only going to be one guy that wins.
When you have that defining moment in your life, do you ever think about what's next? I know back then a lot of people consider amateur wrestling a gateway to MMA. Back then, UFC, I don't think, had that lower weight classes. WEC was coming into form. World Championships, obviously, for amateur wrestling. Did you ever consider trying to parlay your skills into something else athletic related that wasn't necessarily coaching?
I was going to try to make the Olympic team. I did it for 2 years. I wanted to go to Bull, which I did right after my senior year. So I stayed around, coached my brother and his crew for 2 years as a grad assistant. And I just wanted to do other things. I looked at guys that had been wrestling and trying to make Olympic teams or world teams, and were now 30 years old and still assistant wrestling coaches, and making $25,000 a year. And it just, it was, and nothing against those guys. Like, if that was a choice that I could have made, and good for them. In fact, two guys that made the Olympic team I wrestled with and had beaten before, and they'd beaten me too. And I was super happy for them. But at that time, I was like, hey, I got other things I want to do in life. Love wrestling, love where it's taken me. I did it until I was 25 years old, and then got into the business world. And like I said, I have no regrets.
Final question as we'll get you out of here on this. I know they just announced this Hall of Fame class last week. Yet, what do you think your emotions will be at the Hall of Fame induction ceremony in September? And do you think you'll swing by and show the kids Huff Hall and the wrestling room?
Yeah, 100%. So, I've always been kind of a person that, I think it's a wrestling thing. It's ingrained in us. Like, if you're like a baseball player, right? You don't really have a way to prove you're like the best second baseman in the, you can go on stats, right? You can go on all these different things. There's no real direct. Like, wrestling has always been it's a direct competition. Like, you're the best because you won. That's it. Like, I beat you. You can't beat me. So I'm the best. So I've always had like not got as excited about things that were not, directly won, just because they're not in your control. And it's just kind of a wrestling thing. But, Josh called about the Hall of Fame thing, and I was, I was pretty excited about that. Obviously, I have great memories of Illinois. But I think it's set in more with, all my friends and family and former teammates of, tons of them have reached out and just said, congrats, how great that is. And, sort of the magnitude sets in that, man, I wrestled at, Illinois. They've had sports there for 125 years or something. And I'm the, really the first, I would say, modern day wrestler to go in the Hall of Fame at Illinois. There's a couple other wrestlers there, but I think from the 50s and before. And it's just an incredible accomplishment. And except when people start, messaging you, it kind of makes you think about it, and it's more humbling. And then I think the thing that I'm most excited about is bringing my kids back there, because I didn't have kids until I was 30, so they didn't, see a lot of the things. And now my son's going to be 11 in June. My other one will be 8 in July. I have a daughter who will be 5 here in 2 weeks. They've seen the matches. Like, they'll be able to see Huff Hall and and my wife too played college soccer. So she was there at Illinois playing soccer. She was actually the first soccer group that ever came through at Illinois. So just see where we worked out, the weight room, the things we did, the campus. I think I'm really excited about that, and kind of bring it home a little bit that, my kids are actually going to get to see some of the stuff that we did. And then for us, for all our nostalgic purposes, just seeing it again.
Without a doubt. Adam, it was my pleasure to talk with you. I really appreciate you sharing those memories with us. Congratulations on your induction into the Fighting Illini Hall of Fame, and best wishes to you and yours. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me.
There he is, Adam Tirapelle, someone I sure wouldn't want to be across from on a mat. by far the biggest guest in ISN Now's short history, and you have to love the story time, especially about Heffernan. Jim is so stoic in interviews and in the coach's chair, yet the one thing you cannot say about him is he does not dedicate himself in building great wrestlers and better people. Well, I'm not sure how we can top a Fighting Illini Hall of Famer for Episode 5. We gotta try though, right? Episode 5, let's head to the baseball diamond and talk to someone who very well could be in the Fighting Illini Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. Of course, it's Cole Cursiper, a freshman starting pitcher who really could not have taken to college baseball any better. 3-0 record, 4 appearances, sub-2 ERA. The stat line is pretty good if you ask me. We're going to get to know him a little bit better on Tuesday. Before then, what are you waiting for? Rate, review, and subscribe to ISN Now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Follow me at PCWESNER, at PC Wesner if you liked today's episode. I enjoy talking about amateur wrestling, mixed martial arts, and everything in between. We'll get along just fine. Follow Illini Sports Night on Twitter at UI7ISN. Subscribe to our YouTube. It's Friday, so lookout weekend. Here I come. Enjoy yours. I'll enjoy mine. And I'll see you next time.